Hello and good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Maybe good morning, whenever it is you happen to be watching this video. For me, it's about 4 o'clock on Thursday, the 15th of October. Taking some time today to break down the market numbers as I do in the middle of every month. Last month, we talked about the relationship between total number of listings and months of inventory and what that tells us about where we are in the market and where we might be going. We're going to be discussing a couple different numbers today. We're looking at days on market and average sale price and how those two numbers correlate. One of them being a leading indicator of where the other one is going. I do not believe that there is a direct there is not a direct causality between the two, and yet there are a lot of contributing factors that cause them to move in inverted directions. So we'll talk about this for a moment. What we're going to look at is the past 5 years, and you can see here we're looking at days to sell. That's average days on market from the time you go on market to the day the property actually sells. And then we're also looking at average sale price, not the price that people want to sell their home for, the price that they actually sell their home for, or the price that somebody buys a home for. So you can see over the past 5 years, there are peaks and valleys that is just going to happen naturally. We can see that generally days to sell is the most predictable. It follows these annual patterns. In January, it tends to peak. In July, it tends to hit a trough. It bottoms out, and then between July and January, homes take longer to sell, and they keep climbing up until we hit. What often happens is that in January, we're at the very bottom of our available listing inventory, and so what is there that hasn't sold starts to sell anyway. And they tend to sell quickly. We come through the spring market, and not only do lots of homes come on the market, but you've got a lot of buyers that are picking them up. So the days to sell tends to fall rapidly again until we hit the bottom. Around July is when it starts to drop out. We talked about last month. July is when we have the peak of inventory. It's when we've got the most homes available on the market. Those that don't sell just we call them aged listings. They sit on the market for a little bit longer until we hit the next cycle, the next peak of the next annual cycle. So the average sale price, obviously there are a lot of other contributing factors to this. Interest rates go into this, new construction, inventory, builder activity, that goes into this. The type of buyers and sellers that are selling also has a major impact on this, whether it's the low end of the market or the high end of the market or anywhere in between. The median price is, which is not a number we're looking at today, but that is pretty enlightening. When we look at average sale price and we look at median sale price, we can see when the median sale price increases, it has an outsized impact on average. Anyhow, not what we're discussing today. Today we're looking at the difference and how days on market tends to be a leading indicator for where average sale price is going to go. It is not directly predictable, but if we look in retrospect, there are very, very clear annual cycles. So we can see that when the days on market bottoms out in July, typically we'll see a 4 to 5 month increase, slow increase in sale price until we hit the slow season. It tends to drop a little bit, and then it sets us up for another climb the following spring. We generally have a mid-cycle trough in annual sale price, and that often happens right around July. What happens is this: in July, because there are the most homes on market, the average home sells for a little bit less, and then as scarcity increases, people tend to pay a little bit more until you get to the beginning of the next year. You see whatever's left on market has been sitting there for a while typically, so people tend to pay a little bit less for it. And then in springtime, it gets exciting and we hit another climb. So we're going to look at the difference between those troughs in just a moment. But the first thing that I want to point out is how stark a contrast there is with where we are right now compared to anywhere that we see in the past 5 years. So we can see that our average days to sell is right now, I believe it's at 36. It's at 37, in fact, as of the close of September. It's a little bit lower this month. I believe it's at 36 for October. That should hold steady, if not drop a little bit. But October's not closed out, so those numbers are not super reliable. And yet they're trending in the same direction. It looks like we're not done decreasing days on market yet. On the other hand, the average sale price is spiking like crazy. And that does not show any signs of slowing down either. Let's take the 2-year period from now and from 2 years ago until now. So September of 2018, average days on market was 45. Average sale price was 241. Those have increased. Days on market has decreased by 18%, down to 37 days, and average sale price has increased to 303,000. That is a 26% increase in average sale price. We're looking at Collin County here, folks. In 2 years' time, September to September, we've seen a 26% increase. Now, that I can't say firmly that that's 26% appreciation in the value of homes, and yet in the month of September, homes this year are selling for 26% more than they were 2 years ago. That is a major difference. Let's look 2 years prior to that. From 16 to 18, we see days on market tend to, again, they're more predictable, right? So there was an increase from 16 to 18 of 25% in days on market, meaning they took a little bit longer to sell, 25% longer to sell in 18 than they did in 16. And with that, average sale price decreased 3%. Between 16 and 18, we saw an increase in the market and a correction both, and so it makes sense that it would be kind of flat. But you can see over the past 5 years, there have been some increases, but they've not been that stark. What I really want to look at next, and we're going to break it down to what's happening this year specifically, but what is really interesting is how the trough of days on market tends to predict the trajectory of the average sale price. So what we see is in July each year, we see the trough of days on market. Again, peak of activity, it makes sense, homes would sell the quickest. And then you generally have a couple months thereafter where you see an increase in average sale price before it peaks and falls off again. In July of 16 to December of 16, we saw an 11% increase in average sale price from July to December. So we hit a trough in July at days on market, and then we see the ramp up in average sale price after that of 11%. 2017 followed the exact same pattern, identical. It troughed in July, and then from that price point until the December's price point when it peaked out, we saw an 11% increase. This year, folks, our trough hit in May, obviously for different reasons. With the pandemic, days on market was a little bit funky, but it's interesting to see that homes were still selling. The number of homes sold was one thing, but then we saw that homes still sold. It was just a different type of home. So the lower end of the market, those homes continued to fly off the market. People still need places to live. It was the top end of the market that chose not to move right away. Well, those people are moving, and they're moving in droves right now. From May of this year until October right now, we've seen a 31% increase in average sale price. That's this huge blue line that we see peaking on the right-hand side of the graph there. Guys, it's not done yet. Based on previous annual cycles, we're not finished with that average sale price climb until December each year. That doesn't, if you're a curious seller, that doesn't mean you wait until December, because if you list in December, it means that you're actually going to sell in January or February. My point is, we're seeing extraordinary market movement, 31% increase, and we're not even done climbing yet. Another thing I want to point out is that the longest period of time that we've seen an increase in any year previous was a 4-month straight increase in average sale price, meaning from any given trough in average sale price to the next peak, it was a longest term of 4 months. We've already strung together 5 months straight of increases in average sales price. It is the only 5-month period that we've seen an increase in average sale price over the past 5 years. And there's no indication that it's stopping yet. In fact, we saw this past month another decrease in days on market. It looks like we're having that again. And when we look at October numbers included, it looks like it's trending upward even again. I'm going to flip over to, let's look at just this year alone. So these are the same numbers. Again, days to sell and sales price average. But we're looking at just from October last year to October of this year. So when we see this, we could see that, again, it's just not done, folks. It is absolutely not done. Since May of this year, when we saw the peak of days on market, it has continued to drop. We had that between July and August, there was a peak of an extra day on market, but then we can see it's trending again downward. Guys, this is unprecedented, absolutely, and it's pretty incredible. I am not I don't have a crystal ball. I am a real estate economist by practice and by experience, and I can tell you that in retrospect, when we look at these numbers, it's going to explain a lot about our future markets. We'll be looking at this time period for a very long time and unraveling what exactly it means to us. The good news is that in an October right now, we're essentially seeing a summer market, which is strange. We're seeing summer activity as far as market movement is concerned and market trends, but we're seeing, as far as number of listings available, seller activity, we're seeing more of like a winter market. So I know that I mentioned this last month, and I'm going to mention it again because I bring it up in just about every conversation that I can. Folks, this is the best time to sell that we've ever seen. I know there are some folks out there that are worried about the election. There are some folks worried about a winter market or maybe your current competition and what that says about what your home is worth. I encourage you, if you're curious at all, just at least take a look because, again, with numbers like this, with market activity and the trends that it's proving, it means really, really good things for sellers. At the same time, buyers have record low interest rates, which is just wild to see all of these things at the same time. Folks, it's a perfect storm. And a perfect storm, I talk about this sometimes, a perfect storm does not mean that all the wrong things happen all at the same time and it's unpredictable. You couldn't see it coming. If you look at the concept of a perfect storm, it's actually all these different things that you can predict and they all come together at the same time. That is the perfect storm. Perfect storms are generally forecasted, by the way. I know there's a movie that talks about it. If you look at the historical record of that ship that got caught in that storm, they knew it was coming. There's no doubt. Right now, we're seeing that perfect storm. It's a good thing. It's a really good thing for any of us in the real estate market right now, not just in the industry, but buyers and sellers as well. So thank you all for watching so much. As always, you can engage us on social media, Facebook. You can send us an email, a text, whatever. Just reach out. We're here. My name is Seth Mills. I'm with the Mills Group at Keller Williams Realty. This has been your October market update. You guys have a great day.